Okay, here we are back at it again with another video. If you're not sure who this guy is, this is NMPLOL. He is a long time, one of the oldies when it comes to Twitch. He was very popular, known as being Soda Poppin's like best friend. I think he obviously he still is, but he went through a divorce with his ex named Melina. He's now going over. The divorce has finally been settled here. He goes over it in this video, so let's watch it and see what he has to say about it.
It's time. Let's talk about the divorce. So I've been away for quite a while. Let me tell you why. At this point, the case is over. I've been trying to get this divorce settled. It was a lot longer process than I thought, and I haven't talked about it in any official way up until this point. There's two different courts. There's the court of public opinion, that is Reddit, Twitter, all those great and wonderful places. And then there's the court of law, where I believe that was the best place to spend most of my time and focus most of my efforts. After it was settled, then we could talk about it. We could dispel any rumors or any sort of questions people had. And that's who this video is for. It's for people who genuinely are curious about what happened. I have
Nick does need stuff on Reddit because he can't take it. Like, he really just needs to uninstall the app from his phone, like block the website so he can't go to it. Because like to this day, Nick will... He has a mental condition when it comes to Reddit. He will tweak the fuck out. If somebody makes a Reddit or a Reddit page about him and is criticizing him, he'll get super upset. It really was. There's been like his Discord messages got leaked of him like trying to contact the FBI for Reddit threads. It's fucking stupid shit.
Documents here in front of me. I'm going to read them as they are. I'm going to try my best to not have any of my opinions in here. Some of these things are a bit confusing for people who don't know lawyer speak. So I'm going to do my best to explain these documents in a more casual way. So hopefully everyone can understand them. Keep things as plain as I can. This isn't to inflame the situation or cause any stress to anybody whatsoever. I just want to speak the truth finally. So I want to do my best to provide an accurate timeline of what happened. The divorce was filed by Melina in January of 2025. We had split up the previous year. It was amicable. We tweeted about it on Twitter. Everyone saw that. And the divorce ended up being officially filed by her in, like I said, January.
About a year and a half long.
I sent Melina a 50-50 offer down the middle in April of that year. She did not accept it. I did not know what she wanted out of this divorce until mediation, which was actually in November. And essentially what she wanted was the same thing she wanted in trial. And that's what we have.
So I'm actually surprised by this because you would think normally when a guy and a woman gets a divorce, usually the woman tries to get 50% and he tries to contest it. But the fact that he was off the bat already willing to give 50%, I think that actually shows a lot about him as a character. That's actually really, I applaud him for that. That was actually really good. Damn, but I'm curious why does she think she deserves more than 50%? Like, if it wasn't for Nick approaching her in the first place, like none of this career for her would have been possible. Like,
here, I warned Melina that trial would be very expensive. It would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, but still we had to go to trial. Why didn't she just take the 50-50? So bear with me now. We are going to go into some legal documents. What I have here is what they call Melina Midtoy-Palom's First Amendment disposition of issues. So this is essentially what she wanted. I'm going to read the document to the best of my ability because I can't read very well, but I'm going to explain things so everyone can kind of understand what she wanted and how it went down. Keep in mind, we each had this. This one's hers. This one's mine. We'll go over mine, but first let's do hers. Hers is a bit longer. The first thing she wanted, and by the way this works is it's essentially a line with like for a check mark and then the thing that they wanted. So the first thing that she wanted was to grant the divorce between the parties on the grounds of insupportability. This is very important, and I'm explaining exactly what that means right now. In Texas, a divorce can be granted on the grounds of insupportability, which is the state's no-fault divorce ground. The Texas Family Code defines insupportability as a conflict or discord of personalities between the spouses that destroys legitimate ends of the marriage relationship and prevents any reasonable expectation of reconciliation.
This
in
is a good
practical
thing,
terms, it means neither spouse has to prove wrongdoing.
Okay.
No evidence of adultery Cruelty, abandonment, or other fault is required.
Yeah. All right. Okay. For those who may not know here, did you see what he just did? All right. There was rumors or talks that supposedly Melina, so she filed for this, saying that there was no evidence of adultery, but supposedly, I don't know how true this was. Melina was saying that Nick supposedly cheated on her back in when he went to Amsterdam or some shit. So, but for her to actually file this, it means that she acknowledges there was no evidence of adultery. So a lot of people were shitting on Nick because of that, saying he cheated on Melina. Okay, that's good. This is a huge win for him.
The court only needs to find that the marriage has become unworkable and that reconciliation is not reasonably expected. So you can file divorce on other grounds, and I'll explain what those are. Cruelty. You can file for adultery, which didn't happen. Conviction of a felony. Abandonment, living apart, etc. She filed on the grounds of insupportability. Next. Award Melina Midtoy-Palom a disproportionate share of the party's estate for the following reasons, including but not limited to. So she wanted more than 50-50. Respondent's economic and financial abuse of the petitioner. Respondent's failure to permit access to the party's community property accounts, including for purposes of insight and access to such community funds. Benefits the innocent spouse may have derived from continuation of the marriage. Disparity of earning power of the spouses and their ability to support. Earning power, business opportunities, capacities, and the ability of the spouses. Nature of the property involved in the division. Waste and attorney's fees to be paid. So to explain
that's crazy.
That's not happening. In order to grant Melina her disproportionate share, would have to find something that fits those sort of grounds. Any of those bullet points that I read off. Next, confirmation of Melina Midtoy's separate property as outlined in the attached spreadsheet, meaning that there's an attached spreadsheet here that has her own property in it. Makes sense. Next, order Melina Midtoy-Palom's waste claim for Nicholas Michael Palom's excessive expenditures. That was over $100,000 they had claimed against me. The next thing she wanted, and this is one of the reasons why we had to go to trial, order Melina Midtoy-Palom's request for post-divorce maintenance for a period of 5 years from February 1st, 2026 in the amount of $5,000 a month. So she...
Oh, get the fuck out of here. No fucking way. You want $5,000 a month because you fucking decided to... No fucking way. Dude, for anybody who doesn't know, back when OTK was fucking hitting it off big, they were huge as fuck. I was always told and heard of that Melina did such a fucking good job behind the scenes. They wanted her to become part of it, but she just, for whatever reason, like, she refused a lot of shit. Like, dude, come the fuck on. $5,000 a month for how many years did he say this was for? 5 years? Holy shit. You're fucking batshit crazy. Oh my god. That...
From February 1st, 2026 in the amount of $5,000 a month. So she wanted me to pay her $5,000 a month for 5 years. We don't even have kids. Next.
That's crazy.
And this was the biggest one, the most important one, and it's gonna take some time to explain it because this is also why we really had to go to trial. Order Melina Midtoy-Palom be granted a judgment against Nicholas Michael Palom with specific language securing such entrance against the shares and stock held by Nicholas Michael Palom with his interests in OTK Ventures, OTK Media, and Kings Gaming Labs Incorporated. So this is essentially the crux of the entire trial.
This is crazy.
I mentioned earlier that Melina wanted a disproportionate share of the estate. She wanted a 60-40 split of the entire estate, but it was a little bit more complicated than that. What she wanted to do essentially was have her 60% be all cash and my 40% be heavily weighted in my OTK shares. She wanted about 90% of the cash reserves, plus she wanted me to pay her this post-divorce maintenance, and my 40% would be essentially all in my OTK shares, which...
That's fucked.
No one really knows what those are worth. This was...
Dude, that's fucked, because I imagine OTK shares are fucking in the shitter right now. Like, back before Asmongold had all the controversial shit come out, dude, fucking OTK was like nigh unstoppable. They were a fucking powerhouse, like, to be like, they were a force to be reckoned with. But now, like, they're like, I'm sorry to say it, but OTK for the most part is fucking dead. I wish that wasn't the case, because OTK had a lot of good shit going for him, dude. As much as everybody hates Mizkiff, his fucking game shows were fucking amazing. They were so fun to watch. Even like the Goblin thing they did with S-Fan and all that shit was amazing to watch. Their little OTK office, like a little YouTube video, those are fucking awesome, man. Like, awesome to watch. Like, dude, like, OTK was fucking huge. Like, it was so fun to watch. Like, oh my god. Like, those shares are probably worth shit now. I mean, they might have some value to them, but like, what the fuck are they even worth now?
That was the biggest point of contention in the trial for me. I don't think anyone would have accepted the offer that was presented in front of them. Essentially, it would drain me to 10% cash reserves, be in debt a whole bunch of money. So I would put a lot of trust in those OTK shares being worth something someday. So that is just about half of the document. And I don't know if I should say this, but now it gets kind of funny, and I'm gonna explain to you why. Up next is a section called income taxes, and let me read this for you. Order that any refunds received from the date of marriage through the date of divorce be divided equally by the parties, with Milena Midtoy being entitled to 50% and Nicholas Michael Pollan being entitled to 50%. So if there was a tax refund, she would get half of it, I would get half of it. Makes sense, right? Order any liability from the date of marriage to the date of divorce be paid solely by Nicholas Pollan. So if there was a tax bill, I would have to pay for all of the taxes. But if there's a refund, Milena would get half of it.
Why? That's
Order
not
that
fair.
The parties file separate tax
that's
returns
not fair.
And partitions as January 1st, 2026, and each party be liable for their own respective taxes for 2026 and each awarded respective returns for 2026. Makes sense to me. Up next, injunctions. And this is where it gets a little bit confusing. I'll try my best to explain it for everyone. Order Nicholas Michael Pollan be restrained and enjoined from making any public statements, whether written, verbal, or visual, regarding the ongoing litigation and the parties' divorce, unless mutually agreed upon in writing by the parties and filed within the court. So that essentially says that me, and you notice her name's not there, but me and me alone can't talk about it.
Dude.
And then the next line is,
nobody's going to talk about Milena ever again.
Grant the requested permanent injunction.
That's okay, good.
Milena Midtoy Pollan requests the court after trial on the merits to grant the following permanent injunctions enjoining the parties, their agents, servants, employees, and attorneys. So pretty much everyone involved this is the following injunction. Directly or indirectly disseminating, publishing, or causing to be published, or directly or indirectly requesting a person disseminating or publishing any letter, story, statement, correspondence, description, or depiction of any kind whatsoever, including on any social media, whether fictionalized or not, which is or could be reasonably interpreted to be disparaging, negative, or defamatory in its description of the other party's personal, professional, private, or family life, including without limitation the business or the financial affairs of the other party. So essentially anyone involved with me whatsoever could not talk about this divorce. Spoiler, that did not get granted because obviously we're talking about it now. I'll explain why that didn't get granted.
That's good.
Because essentially that's an infringement on my First Amendment right to the Constitution of the United States of America, which is freedom of speech. Milena Midtoy Pollan requests the court order Nicholas Michael Pollan to pay reasonable attorney's fees, expenses, and costs through trial and appeal, and a judgment should be rendered in favor of Milena Midtoy Pollan against Nicholas Michael Pollan and be ordered to pay directly to Milena Midtoy Pollan. Milena Midtoy Pollan request post-judgment interest as allowed by law. Also, it says Milena Midtoy Pollan requests the court deny
I'm sorry.
any and all
I hate fucking how court documents read. It is so fucking stupid. Like, are the court, are we this fucking retarded where courts are like, all right, let's just do something. Let's, like, I don't know, like, let's start abbreviating shit so it doesn't fucking read like goddamn.
Was Pollan's requested relief filed with the court. So that's a lot. I'll explain quickly what she wanted. She wanted a 60-40 split because of her reasons listed. She wanted me to pay her $5,000 a month for 5 years. She wanted the majority of my part of the split to be locked up in my OTK shares. She wanted me not to be able to talk about the case whatsoever.
Nah, man, fuck
She
that.
wanted the things about taxes.
Dude, she wanted way too much.
She also wanted me to pay her lawyer fees. So, what did I want? Let's get into it. It's not going to be as long as what she wanted, so we'll keep it plain as possible. I'll read it as is, just like I did with hers. Number 1, grounds of divorce. Nicholas Michael Palm requests that the court be granted a divorce on the grounds of insupportability. There's that word again, insupportability. This is the only thing that we agreed upon in the entire case, which is good.
Okay.
It really is.
That
Division
does sound
of community
good.
property. Nicholas Michael Palm requests that the court
nothing
divide
bad
the
happened in a
community
relationship.
estate in a manner that the court deems
That's
just
good.
in right as provided by law and set out in Exhibit A attached hereto. So Exhibit A is essentially a exhibit with spreadsheets, and it ends up being a 50-50 split down the middle. Stocks, shares, cash, everything. Next, separate property. Nicholas Michael Palm requests that the court confirm and assign his separate property to Nicholas Michael Palm as set out in Exhibit A attached hereto. So my stuff is my stuff. Milena also had her stuff. Her stuff is her stuff, which makes sense to me. Next, waste and reconstitution. Nicholas Michael Palm requests the court to find that Milena Midtoy Palm has committed waste on the community and to reconstitute what ought be the actual existing value of the estate as a part of the court's just and right division of the community estate as set out in Exhibit A attached here.
What does this mean exactly?
So just the waste claim, essentially she had one against me, so I had one against her. I'm not trying to get into
Okay. All right. I think I know what it's about. So she's trying to say that during the process of the divorce, she's trying to say that Nick was wasting money or blowing it out constantly to limit how much money she would get from him if she actually won. But, dude, I'm sorry. The fact that he was willing to give you a 50-50 and you're trying to get more, a 60-40, I think that's fucking behaviors. They called her a gold digging bitch. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it though. She sounds like a gold digging bitch.
The gritty details of that. Next, attorney's fees. Order Milena Midtoy Palm pay a portion of Nicholas Michael Palm's attorney fees, expenses, and costs, rendering a judgment against Milena Midtoy Palm in favor of Kirker Davis LLP attorneys for Nicholas Michael Palm, and order Milena Midtoy Palm to pay such a judgment directly to Stephen W. Payne and Kirker Davis LLP, who may enforce the judgment in attorney's own name with post-judgment interest as allowed by law. Attorney's fees. And then my last thing that I asked for, request for Milena Midtoy Palm. Nicholas Michael Palm requests that all relief requested by Milena Midtoy Palm be denied. So essentially what I'm asking for in this is a clean 50-50 split down the middle, just like I wanted back in April and March of 2025. Okay. What we have here is the court's ruling. This is what everyone's been waiting for, so let's just go ahead and get right into it. Dear counsel, from January 12th, 2026 to January 13th, 2026, the court presided over this case and took it under advisement. The ruling of the court is as follows. Divorce is granted on the grounds of insupportability. It's good. Okay. That's what I wanted. That's what Milena wanted. It's a no-fault divorce. Next, division of community property. 50% to Mr. Palm and 50% to Miss Palm, with the exception of King's Gaming Lab, Starforge, ordered to be split 55% to Miss Palm and 45% to Mr. Palm. The court finds that the disproportionate share of those funds are warranted due, number 1, the disparity of the earning power, number 2, nature of the property involved, and 3, waste. So let me explain.
Okay, well, all right, let's
before everyone gets all excited what that means. I have a very small ownership in Starforge. She gets 5% more than I do, and if you do the math, it ends up being about 15K. If you remember during Milena's disposition of issues, she had asked for a 60-40 split because of things like economic and financial abuse of the petitioner. She did not get that. The community estate was essentially just 50-50 split down the middle. Why would she get 55 with the exception of Starforge, which is about a $15,000 extra towards Milena. And it makes sense to me. I will probably earn more than her going forward, and that seems pretty fair to me.
That's fine, but I still don't understand why she got 55. That makes sense.
My shares. Nick?
Why would she get 50% of everything else, but the judge, all right, we'll give her 5% more? That sounds fucking... I mean, I'm sure in this regard, like, he essentially got what he wanted. It's not that much more. But that sounds fucking stupid.
And NMPLOL are designated as constructive trustee for Miss Palm's interest. So what that means, I don't have to send her my shares. I don't have to send her cash for the shares. I will hold her shares in my name until they're sold, if and when they're sold. So that was a big deal for me. Doesn't put me in generational debt. And
okay,
if they sell, Up next,
the shares could be worse than later on.
Each party pays their own attorney's fees.
That is
Motion
huge.
to seal the court records, denied. Injunctions, denied. Post-divorce maintenance,
is he going to say how much the attorney fees
denied.
are?
That means me not being able to talk about the case was denied, and the $5,000 a month for 5 years that Milena wanted was also denied. She did not get that. Each party is to keep credit card in its debt in their own name. Each party to keep household furnishings in their possession. So all this stuff in this house is mine. All the stuff in hers is hers. Each party to keep their jewelry and personal items. So for example, that necklace that I wore, I get to keep. Pokemon card collection to be divided equally. Mr. and Mrs. Pollum to each keep their own online skins. Magic.
Wait, what the fuck is this? What do you mean online skins? I don't know. What do you mean online skins?
The Gathering card collection to be divided equally. The Super 73 bike is awarded to Miss Pollum. Each party to keep ownership of their own social media accounts. 2023 Cadillac Escalade is awarded to Miss Pollum. 2021 Nissan GTR is awarded to me.
Okay.
So that was the court's ruling. To summarize, it was essentially the same exact offer that I had offered her back in March and April of 2025, with the exception of the extra $15K. Right? This court case lasted well over a year. It cost over $400,000 in lawyer fees, expert fees, and in my opinion, most of it was unnecessary. But I had to go. I had no choice. If I was to continue to stream through everything, people would have been harassing me about it the entire time, like they did when I first started.
Yeah.
And I do believe that me not streaming was the quickest way to come to a conclusion with this divorce.
No, so I can understand why he stopped streaming, because I'll be. Let's be honest. I'll be upfront about it. The amount of hate Nick gets, it is unwarranted. I know it was a very stressful thing to go through, and obviously, the way online community works is everybody's going to believe Milena over him simply because she's a woman, and that's fucked. So I can understand why he stopped streaming. Yeah, he probably had a lot on his mind, and then he has a problem with social media and shit. He just won't. He just stop reading it, dude. The best thing I can tell this dude is just uninstall Reddit. It is a fucking cesspool. Never go to it. I mean, you're gonna have haters. It is what it is. Damn. $400K for fucking attorney fees though? That's insane.
There's a lot of rumors and things that kind of spawned
that sounds fucking crazy.
This case, because documents were leaked and people made up their own theories and ran with them. I could sit here and diffuse all of them. It'd be pretty easy because none of them were true.
Fuck it, nah, honestly, it's done.
I got the ruling that I wanted, and I'm not going to do that. I might mention them on the podcast.
You won, dude.
Where we can do it in a less informal environment. But
yeah,
that's essentially
there was no adultery like everybody
that's
was trying to claim there was.
You know, it really does suck that things ended up this way with me and Milena. We spent well over 10 years together. It just ended up being that way.
That's crazy.
It's the road that we had to walk.
Yeah, I feel for that.
There was a whole bunch of different dramas and things that happened behind the scenes that people would find really interesting, but I'm not trying to throw any shade at anybody or at this point. If I don't have to talk about that, I won't. Speaking for me emotionally, this whole thing has been quite stressful. There's been so many things said about me that just aren't true. It was somewhat exhausting. And once I got this ruling, I literally broke down and cried. Like I was like
I can see it. I can tell.
Tears, you know, that it was finally,
I can see why, man.
Finally over. This actually happened back in January when we finally got the ruling. But you know, lawyer stuff, it took until last month for it to actually be over.
Nice.
I wish Milena and her family the best. I have no ill will towards them. Hopefully things go well for them, and I'm just
I don't have any ill will towards her, but she's
give this another try, see if I can still do it. So that's the summary. Again, if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Thanks for watching, and fuck you. There's only one winner when it comes to divorce court. It's the lawyers. Because they're walking away with $400,000 of me and Milena's money.
It's so fucking stupid,
and they could not give two fucks about us.
Yeah, I don't understand how they can make so much money for but you gotta have it though. Damn, that was a good video. Holy shit. I'm glad to hear there was no, like I said, everybody was trying to say there was adultery. There's no adultery. They both admitted they just were not compatible with each other. Essentially, what it sounds like. You know, they felt like they fell apart or drifted apart from each other. Damn, this is a really good video. All right, we're gone.